Okay, guys, welcome back. I'm going to be talking about tax and what I think are the implications in the Dubai market. Okay, we've lived through the introduction of the VAT, which was back in 2018, 1st of Jan. But I want to take you a little bit further back, and then I want to leave it out to you to understand how that might affect the Dubai economy, the UAE economy, and how that might affect real estate. Okay. Now, obviously, if you're looking to purchase a property in the Dubai market, there is a link below. You can click it, fill up the form. Me and my team would get in touch and we can talk and sort things out and help you. If you would like the subject, you like the video, hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon. Obviously, show us some love in the comment section. You can ask me any question that I've not covered in any of the videos, and I will be more than happy to answer. Okay, let's give a little bit of a tax brief background. Okay, now we know that the United Arab Emirates has generally, for the last n number of years, been a tax-free zone, which meant that you would pay no income on any income that's generated. You would pay no tax on any corporate activities that you engage in the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. And you would never pay a VAT or a sales tax, so to speak. Okay. And I remember 2007, I was sitting in a speech or a program in something called the Dubai School of Government. Okay, this was an initiative where government employees from around the Middle East were being trained for effective governance to, implement good policies in their countries and so on and so forth, under His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, right? And I was sitting there in 2007. I still remember a gentleman. I don't know. I think he was from the upper echelons of the Dubai government making policy. I don't remember his name. I don't remember his exact post. But I still remember one of the off-cuff remarks that he made. And he said, look, one of the things, because Dubai had a plan at that time. There was a 2015 vision, I believe, a 2020 vision, and then 2040 vision, right? Dubai operates on that. One of the off-cuff remarks that he made was that whenever the Dubai government is creating policy, creating strategy, one of the things that really helps is to have actual numbers, right? Without actually having numbers of how many sales are happening, how many tourists. Of course, if you know that, for example, I'll give you an example. Because Dubai knew as a government how many tourists come into the country, or Dubai per se, they can then make a plan, which is what they had. They had, like, let's say they were at 12 million tourists per year in 2013. They wanted to reach 20 million by 2020, which was the Expo 2020. But if you got no base number, then you can't have a dream number, right? Because if you don't know where you are, chances are it's kind of tough to actually envision and know exactly where you're going to go. Having a base number is good, even if you don't pay a lot of attention to it. So this gentleman made an off-cuff remark, and what he said was, look, every time they go to one of the bigger conglomerates, the family-owned businesses in Dubai, and ask them for feedback or ask them for their numbers on sales and so on and so forth, they don't perhaps sometimes get a straightforward answer. And one of the reasons was that these large conglomerates were scared about tax or income tax or VAT or so on and so forth. But the GCC across the board decided, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates, to introduce a 5% VAT onto all sales in goods, on all goods and services provided in the United Arab Emirates, across the GCC as well. It was 5% introduced on 1st January 2018. Essentially speaking, if you bought an iPhone, the price that you were paying included the 5% tax, or you might be, at the time of checking out, a 5% tax might be added. Now, one of the things that a lot of people talked about was, how this might dampen sales, and obviously the retail sector talked about it, and they felt, oh, it's going to get affected, they're going to get affected, so on and so forth. I saw the other side of it, right? Because I think the talk of the town was the United Arab Emirates, under the Federal Tax Authority, is going to collect somewhere between 12 to 16 billion dirhams in the first year of revenue. And I said to myself, yeah, okay, 12 to 16 billion is good money. Perhaps it's not chump change for anybody, generally speaking. It's about $4 billion. But you got to understand that the UAE Sovereign Wealth Fund, or the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, has over $1 trillion in it, right? So $4 billion, they've got the cash and the cash flow. So for me, so they're not doing this primarily for the cash flow, at least not for now. For me, it was, it's going to encourage better policy making. I'm going to give you some examples of already what I've seen happen. One of my VIP clients, they run a large electronics company under their own brand. I don't want to name them, but they do about 30 to 50 million dirhams, about a $10 million, $15 million revenue company. What I've heard from them is more recently, the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, obviously after they've seen that they've been submitting tax returns for 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, they saw that these companies, obviously maybe perhaps in tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 2.5 of all the businesses that are operating in the Dubai market. So they said, well, now Dubai's focus is not just going to be bringing in products and re-exporting. Rather, we'd like manufacturing to happen here and more re-export to happen from here. So the Dubai Chamber of Commerce invited them on foreign trips to other countries, okay, where they organize everything. And the key main aspect of these trips is to be able to help these companies generate more business for Dubai, right? So this is a clear sign of policy in the making, in the implementation, okay? Now, 2018 tax was not time. So 2018 was time. 2018, we saw that we did not have, pre-2018, we saw that we did not have any kind of tax. 2018, we saw VAT coming in. And now what's happening is the United Arab Emirates from this year onwards is going to have corporate tax. You got to remember, there's still no income tax. So if you're working or earning in the UAE market and you go and buy a good or service, you're going to pay a 5% VAT. If you're a tourist, that's refundable up to 80%, but you're not paying income tax. And any property that you purchase in the Dubai market, you don't pay. If it goes from $1 million to $1.5 million, you don't pay any capital gains tax, okay? Coming back to corporate tax, listen, and coming back to policy numbers, right? When you've seen people actually travel into the country as tourists, when you've seen people come into the country and spend, when you see what the local people who are living here, because obviously when tourists come, they're allowed right now still an 80% rebate on the tax they pay. So you can see what the numbers are on the rebates that they're taking back, right? What all of this, and then businesses, I've just given you one story, right? What all of this allows a business, a country to do, or a city to do, such as Dubai, is to plan better. So in my personal opinion, right now, the corporate tax, and before that, the VAT, it isn't just about money. Fine, the money might be important, but it's not about money. It's more about policy and then driving that policy. Coming to corporate tax, so from this year onwards, 23, 24, 25, there's a 9% implication. So any profits that you make as a business owner, you're liable to pay a 9% tax or a corporate tax, okay? Now, look, it's very, very, very simple. The way I see this, if you're paying a 9% tax, yes, the government, if you make $1 million dirhams, a profit, you're paying 90,000 dirhams to the country as tax. But we've got a lot of benefit coming back from that. I personally think one of the main things that's going to happen is that the Dubai government is then going to start seeing businesses, and that's not just a source of revenue, but they already see it as a backbone of the economy, but they're going to be now they're going to have the privilege of having the tools to address and make policy for every different sector. So if they see that the food sector is providing this much revenue, if they see that the real estate sector is providing this much revenue, if they see that so-and-so is providing this much revenue, or so-and-so is doing this and this and this and so on and so forth, what's going to end up happening very, very easily is that you will see that the government of Dubai and the United Arab Emirates is then going to be in a very likely position to make better policy, okay? Now, we generally in the United Arab Emirates have a very good governance system in place. Okay, there is the ruler and there is the governing council and so on and so forth. What's generally happened is their plans, unlike other countries where governments come in for every 5 years and then they change, and then a new government creates policy that sometimes destroys the policies that the other people have created previously. We've got here continuity of governance, which allows for a lot of peace, comfort, and security, and a lot of luxury in terms of the decision making that we can make, because we know that policies are kind of like stable and they're following a true path or a correct path, or the path that is in the betterment of everyone. So my way of looking at this, being born and raised in Dubai, having benefited from growing up in this country, moving to Canada, living there for about 7 years, choosing to move back to Dubai, raising a family here, having a wife, kids, so on and so forth. I think that Dubai is going to do a very healthy job in the way it collects the corporate tax, implements the changes, and redistributes perhaps the wealth to all the people in terms of policy making, better decision making, so on and so forth. Because let's face it, once they get these numbers coming in, they're going to be, you kind of like, I say this to my investors, when you're paying 9% in corporate tax, kind of like the government's a 9% profit shareholder in your company, which makes them also very, very open to making decisions that are going to be helping your sector, that's going to be helping the way you do business. What are the implications that this has on property? Okay, so two things I've got to still point out. Number one, if you're not resident, or if you're resident and you draw an income, there's no income tax. Secondly, if you gain rental income from the United Arab Emirates, from Dubai specifically, there's no rental tax on that, or there's no income on that rent tax that you pay. Okay, so 0% tax. Lastly, if you've bought a property for $1 million and you sell it for 1.5 or 1.2 or 1.3, there is no corporate tax involved. So essentially speaking, you're still okay when you're coming into the real estate sector. But expect the Dubai government to make better and better policies going forward, in part due to the extra privilege that they're going to have of collecting, of having corporate tax come in, and therefore giving them an instrument to making better policy decision making. Do I see core income tax, capital gains tax coming in at some stage? I don't know. Could be 10 years, 20 years, could be never. One other thing that you've got to keep in mind, that Dubai or the United Arab Emirates is very flexible in terms of they will make decisions, implement them, but they will gauge how they work out. If they're working out for everybody's benefit, they will balance the system. If that's good. If not, the United Arab Emirates government and Dubai, they have the right sometimes to make changes for everybody's benefit. And we've seen that, perhaps not the higher policy level making, but especially at the lower level. I've seen, if things work out for everybody's benefit, then the governments can make that decision. They don't have the burden of some of the other parliamentary systems where, decisions have to go through like hundreds of people, and then everybody's got their own stake in place, and then they might stop good decision making just because they're not getting a benefit out. In Dubai, it's very different. That's why it's home to 200 plus nationalities, and a lot of people want to come and actually live here. So that's my thoughts on the whole corporate tax, the tax situation. I think it's going to be, inshallah, khair for everybody. We hope for the best, pray for the best, and we expect the best. And we ask Allah to give khair to everybody, to this country as well. Alhamdulillah. Guys, don't forget, if you want to purchase a property in Dubai, there's a link below. You can click it, fill up the form, and we'll be happy to actually help you out. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon. And obviously, if you've got a question, you can ask us in the comment section. I'll be happy to actually answer. All right, guys. Ciao for now.